So till now we have done with if conditions, loops and functions, right? And now we'll be dealing with file handlings. So why file handlings are important? For example, just take a scenario where you have written a program and there are a number of variables in it. So you will execute that program today and you'll close it. And if you open the file tomorrow and execute it, will you have the variables which are assigned stored somewhere else? You'll not have, right? So you have to store your data somewhere. For example, you have created a student registration form for suppose it's not yet into the production, you're just learning your Python programming like that. So you have created some kind of registration, so you have given some names and all. Okay, so there is a sample program where you have to enter name, age, roll number, etc, etc, etc. So today you have worked on it and you got it. And tomorrow if you want to do that so that you can save the data, how can you do it? You should either connect your program to the database or you have to store it on cloud, right? But integrating all those things will be a tedious task for a beginner to learn, am I right? So for that purpose, we can save your data in your text documents in your computer itself. There's where your file handling come into the picture. So let's talk about file handling now. So if you talk about file handling, the syntax will be variable name is equal to open name of the file dot extension. Here extension could be, if you are working with images, it should be png, jpeg or whatever it may be. Or if it is a textual document, it should be txt. If it is a word document, it should be dox, like that. And now here it should be mode. Okay, so these modes can be a comma x comma w comma wb comma rb. Okay, so I'll tell you what are all these a, x, w, wb, rb in few minutes. First we will execute this function. Okay, so I'm putting that in a markdown so that it will be just markdown window now. So I should create a file. So if you look into my home page, do you have any text file over here? No, right? So what I do, I'll just create a file now. How do I create? I just give a variable name f is equal to open of, and I wanna give the name as new text1 dot txt comma, and here you can create the file with the help of a as well as with the help of x. So first I will create that with the help of x. Okay, so I have created that. I just executed that. If you see this, you have seen that you have created a new text file. Okay, now I want to write something into it. How do you write it? Okay, so to write anything into the file that you have created, this mode should be changed to W. Okay, so I've changed that to W. Now what I have to do is I have to write some data into it. So what I write, there is a function called f1.write of something, like I'll write welcome to remote internship. Okay, now I will execute this. Sorry, fn is not created, so that is f. So now I'll execute it. So if I execute it, let's see whether the content is uploaded or not. So if you see, did you find any content over here? I have written welcome to remote internship, but it not get appended here. Why? Because the reason is your file is in still open condition. It is still in open only. You didn't yet save it. For example, if you take Word document only, once you write, before closing, it will ask you to save. Am I right? So you will press save and close the button. Am I right? So in the same way, here you are saving it, but you're not closing it. Until and unless you close it, this will not get appended over here. So now what I do, I'll just close the file which I have opened, f.close. Now I have closed it. And if I look over here, then you will find this welcome to remote internship. Good. Now I would like to write some other statement. For example, this is Python basics. Again, I execute this. If I execute this, we'll see what happened. So I'll just refresh it. And if you see, it says this is Python. What about the first sentence that is already written? It is vanished. That means W is used to write a sentence, and if you use it again, whatever the data that is there in the document will be written, will be overridden, right? So that's the reason you have to use A. A is nothing but called as append. That means you are appending something to it. Now I'll execute this. If I execute it and see over here, what happened? This is Python basics. This is Python basics bulke. It just came after that, right? But I don't want that. I want to print this in next line. Then what are you supposed to do? You just add /n to it. So just execute it and now see this. Another file, this is Python is added. Okay. So this is how you will be using A, X and W. Now, if I write X over here, I told you X is for creating a file, right? If I put X here, what is it telling? It says file exists error. So whenever you are trying to create a file with X, remember you can create a file with A, X and W, but if you create a file with X, what happens is, if the name is already there, then it says you cannot create a new file because this is already existing. If you put a W over here, then whatever the text file is there, you can write into it. All right. Now, what my aim is to do some kind of additions, and I would like to save that in my textual text document. So what I do, A is equal to int input of enter A. Now B is equal to int input of enter B. Okay. Now C is equal to A plus B. Now what I do, I have to write this data into the file, right? But I didn't yet open my file. So what I do, I'll just open it over here. Okay. Then I will write f dot write of C, and then I will close it, f dot close, close. Just execute this. I'm writing 10. I'm giving D as 20. But it is saying, what is it saying? It says arguments must be string, not integer. So whatever the data that is executed is in the form of integer. But in the textual documents from Python, you can only append strings. So what I do, I typecast it. So I typecast it with str of C. That means you're converting that C variable into string and you're appending it. Now I'll just append it. I'm giving A as 20, B as 30. Then let's see what happens. So 30 plus 20 is 50. So now we'll see whether it got appended or not. So everything got vanished and it's been replaced by 50. So instead of W, what I do? I write A. So W will rewrite the existing thing, but A will append the existing thing. Now what I give? I write 40, enter 50. Now what happens? 90 should get appended, but here 90 got appended just next to that. I don't want this to happen. So what should I do? I have to print that in the next line. How do you do that? You just write /n plus you are concatenating the C. Now I am executing this 30 plus 90, 120. Now 120 will be appended in the next line. Did you get that? Yes, but I don't, if you give this to a person, what will he think? What is this numbers? What is this 50? What is this 90? What is this 120, right? So you have to save that in a proper format. So how do you save it? I will save in this way. The value of A is, comma, what is the value of A? A, comma, value of B is, comma, B, and the addition of these two numbers is C. But this will not get appended in the next line. What I do? I put a /n. So this is how you print in the print statement, right? Let's see whether this will get executed or not. So it says it is an invalid syntax. So before we have created some kind of concatenation, right? That kind of concatenation is to be put plus str of A instead of comma plus value of B is str of B and plus, so you have to add plus in the middle, plus, and the addition of these two numbers is plus str of C. Yes or no? Now we'll check whether this syntax is correct or not. So there should no be comma over here. Yeah, now we'll see. Yes, it got executed 20, 30. Now we'll see what has happened. So I'm just refreshing it. The value of A is 20, value of B is 30, and the addition of these two numbers is 50, right? Now what I do, I again execute it and give another number, 78, 90. Then if I see here, the value is again added over here, right? So this is how your writing of file into will be. Now the next one is to read the file. Am I right? So how do you read the file? As you have W for writing, you will have R for reading. So the same thing what I'm doing here, F is equal to open. What's the name of it? New text1 dot text txt, comma, that is in R, read mode. Now as you are writing the data with the help of f dot write, we have to read with the help of f dot read. But what happens here? Where are we storing this? There should be some variable here. Am I right? P. I'm telling it as P. P is equal to f dot read, print P, and immediately you have to close the file. F dot close. Execute this. So you got everything like this, right? Now you can also read lines. Read, L-I-N-E. Yes, read lines. So if you read all the lines, a list will be created. The output will be a list. It will return. This read lines will return a list. So this is how you will be reading the data from the files. And you can also use for loop. For I in P, print I. So what happens now? Whatever the data that is there in the list, that will get printed. So 590, then you will have a line, I mean the space, then 120, then space, then 190, then the sentence space, then this one. Okay, so this is how you will be reading the files. Now my aim is to write all the contents which are there in new text 1 to other text document. So how it will be possible? So what I have to do is, first I have to read the data from one document. That means that document should be in the open state, I mean the read state, and then I have to read all the elements from that, and I have to append the read elements into a new text file. Now this new text file will be loaded with the help of W. Yes, one is read option, read mode, and other is write mode. So let's see that. So first I take F is equal to open new text1 dot txt comma R. This is the read mode. Yes. Now I am taking another file F1 is equal to open new text2 dot txt comma append. Let's take append. Okay, now what I do, first of all I read the content from F. So P is equal to F in the sense the first document, F dot read. Now I use a for loop for I in P. Now I am appending each and every character from P to F1. So I write F1 dot write. Once it's done, you have to close F1 and you have to close F as well. F dot close. Remember, first come first out kind of, I mean first come last out kind of thing. So you have read your F first, so that should be closed at the last. Second, you have read the F1, so you have to close it first. Now execute this. So what happened? F1 dot write, F1 dot write of I, I'm sorry, so you have to put I as well, right? Now we'll see. So whatever the data that is there in text 1, that should be there in text 2. Let's see whether we have it or not. So this is text 1. We have 50, 90, 120. The value of A is 20. The value of B is 20, something like that. Now I open text 2. The same thing should be there over here. All right. So this is all about reading and writing mode. Now we have some other images as well, right? So what other files as well, right? So images. So we'll work on images for now. Okay. So now I have an image called capture. Okay. What I do, I'll just, first of all, that is already there, no? First, I'll read the content from it. Okay. So I'm again taking a variable name F is equal to open capture capture.png comma. Now I am reading with read mode, right? Now P is equal to F dot read. So let's see whether this gives the values or it will give the error. Okay. F dot close. Now execute this. What happened? It says Unicode error. Codec cannot decode byte 0x8f in the position 51 character maps to something. We got an error, Unicode decode error, right? That means this file is having some other information which our interpreter is unable to grasp it. All right. Why? Because here the text documents have strings. So as soon as you write R, that's fine. But images have pixels. So each pixels are having different values. Okay. So that will be in the form of bytes. Okay. So that's the reason you have to binary format. So you have to read it with the help of RB, read binary. So read the content in the form of binary. Okay. So now we'll see what happens. It got read, but where is the data? We didn't print it. Print P. Now just execute this. Oh my God, we got some values like this, right? So these values are confined to each pixel in the image. All right. So what my aim now is, I want to create another picture with the help of content which is there in capture.png. So what I do, again, I'll take the same code. I'll just paste it over here. Now I am putting it as capture1.rb and I'll put wb over here. Now what I do, sorry, capture1. I'm sorry. So first will be capture.png only. Now f1 is equal to open capture2.png comma wb. So now whatever the image that is in capture.png, that will be stored in capture2.png. First we'll see what is there in capture.png. So if you look at over here, this is just a block diagram which I have. So now this content will be again copied to your capture2.png. Let's see whether that's happening or not. So now what I do, I take a for loop for I in f1 dot f1 dot write I. Now I'm just closing f as well as f1. f1 dot se, close. Okay, I didn't give a comma over here and I didn't close the quotations in WB. Now if you execute this, something got executed. Let's see whether this capture2.png is saved or not. So if you look over here, capture2.png is saved. So capture2.png and capture.png will have the same pictures. All right. So this is what about Python file handling. All right. Did you understand what Python file handling is? How do you handle files? How do you save the data into your file? That's what I just told. So this is just the basic, guys. So you can work with images, putting this image into a Word document. Everything can be done. All right. So we don't have time to explore all those things. So I'll be moving towards exception handling. Is that fine? Right. Now